What is going on, everyone, and welcome to our first Dragon Age Veilguard prep video. In Veilguard, in addition to choosing our character's race, we also get to choose which faction they belong to, which there are 6 of them. Some might be familiar to you while others might be new. If you've only played the games especially, you might have missed out on some of the factions that got introduced through books or comics before this point. So we're going to break down what we know about each faction and help you decide which Rook you'll be creating. First, let's start with the Lords of Fortune. Based out of Rivain, the Lords of Fortune are a renowned guild of treasure hunters and dungeoneers. For those that don't know, Rivain is a kingdom in the far northeast of Thedas and is almost completely surrounded by water. It has a matriarchal society where elder women, often called seers, freely practice magic. During the Kunari invasion during the Steel Age, many converted to the Kun. Despite attempts by the Orlesian Chantry to reclaim Rivain, the kingdom remains distinct from the other human nations in Thedas, and it's this lack of Chantry influence and its isolated location that has made it a haven for pirates and raiders, setting the perfect stage for the rise of the Lords of Fortune. They are considered among the best treasure hunters in all of Thedas. They're not just about finding treasure though, they also take on monster bounties and when necessary, steal from the rich. For an extra fee, they'll even offer protection to those brave enough to accompany them on their dangerous expeditions. Known for their vibrant and flamboyant attire, the Lords of Fortune wear their success, literally. Only those who survive more than a year or two earn the right to display their treasure. Some specialize in disguises and altering their accents, making them masters of deception as well as treasure hunting. If you take a look at the character design for our Lords of Fortune companion Tash, you'll see a lot of these things on display. Next, we have the Mourn Watch. The Mourn Watch is an elite order within the Mortal Atassi, a powerful and feared group of mages from Navarra. Known as the Death Mages, the Mortal Atassi hold significant political power closely tied to the Navarran royal family. Their primary duty is mummifying the bodies of the Navarran elite, ensuring their transition to the afterlife. Founded by the Tevinter mage Vitus Fabria, the Mortal Atassi have long served as advisors to Navarran nobility. Their influence runs deep, with many Mortal Atassi being linked to the royal family by blood. But outside of Navarra, these mages are viewed with fear and suspicion, especially for the macabre rituals they're rumored to perform within the Grand Necropolis. The Mourn Watch is a specialized branch of this group, tasked with guarding the Grand Necropolis and its sacred dead. They ensure that the dead rest peacefully, managing everything from funeral rites to the intricate magic of corpse possession. Within these hallowed halls, the Mourn Watch holds absolute authority. If you've played Dragon Age Inquisition, you'll remember Solus has a particular protective nature towards spirits. The spirit binding practices of this group might directly oppose his ideas, so if you're looking for a Rook who is antagonistic with Solus, this might be the route to go. Additionally, if you want to dive into more about this group in detail, I recommend checking out the novel Tevinter Nights. Next, we have a group that needs very little introduction. If you've played any of the Dragon Age games or touched the series at all, you likely have heard of or know about the Grey Wardens. And while pivotal in the first game, the Grey Wardens have taken a bit of a back seat since then, but in Veilguard they're coming back front and center. So first, let's revisit some details about the Grey Wardens and then go into a little bit about what we last knew about them as of Dragon Age Inquisition. Founded during the first Blight, the Grey Wardens have been crucial in defeating each subsequent Blight, standing as a bulwark against the encroaching darkness. Their headquarters in the Anderfels serves as the heart of their operations, though they maintain a presence across most nations in Thedas. Each national branch of the Grey Wardens operates semi-autonomously, led by a Warden commander. Recruitment is open to all, regardless of race, social status, nationality, or criminal background. What matters most is character, ability, and skill. To join their ranks, recruits undergo the Joining, a dangerous ritual involving the consumption of Darkspawn blood. Those who can survive gain resistance to the Darkspawn taint and the ability to sense their presence. Abandoning their former lives, Grey Wardens dedicate themselves entirely to the fight against Darkspawn. They travel wherever they are needed, battling Darkspawn both during and outside of Blights. Eventually though, every Grey Warden hears the calling. signal that the darkspawn taint within them has become overwhelming, prompting one final mission into the deep roads to meet their end fighting darkspawn. Now, we know from Morgan in Dragon Age Inquisition that not everything was perfect with the Grey Wardens. She hinted at something horrible and mysterious happening to the main leadership at their fortress. There were rumors of sentient darkspawn, and there was also the situation our Inquisitor got involved with. However, it hasn't been all terrible news for the Grey Wardens. They've learned how to breed and revive griffins, as well as discovering the location of 2 old gods. Now, from the Dragon Age Veilguard trailers, we do know that darkspawn and blighted elven gods, along with their archdemons, will be returning. So, in that sense, it could be the perfect situation for a Grey Warden Rook to take up the fight. Next, we have the Shadow Dragons, who are maybe the most unknown of the 6 factions. We do know that they're a resistance group opposing corrupt rulers and slavery within Tevinter. Their mission is to help those in need and bring justice to the people. In that sense, I can see them agreeing, at least maybe in principle, with what Solas is doing, as far as helping elves escape their masters. However, I do think that they will differ from Solas in that he has gone maybe too far and into, I don't want to say corruption, but he's definitely gone too far, whereas the Shadow Dragons are kind of what he used to be as far as fighting for the people. One of, if not the most interesting character faction for me, is the Antivan Crows. They are an elite guild of assassin, also known as the House of Crows, that was so notorious that many nations thought twice before challenging Antiva, despite its lack of a standing army. Originally an arm of the Chantry, the Crows have grown into a powerful organization of thieves, spies, and assassins, known for their deadly efficiency and exotic poisons. Their reputation is built on a strict code. Contracts must be fulfilled or the operative's life is forfeit. The Crows are organized into family houses, each led by a Talon. The guild's leadership includes 8 Talons who oversee the major houses. When it comes to recruitment, the Crows frequently recruited orphaned or enslaved elves and humans, training them from a young age. This training is brutal and only those who survive are deemed worthy. Elves were particularly favored for their attractiveness to human targets, though many humans also serve in their ranks. Currently, the Crows face significant challenges. Recent political maneuvers have weakened their leaders' influence, and the betrayal of some Talons has left the organization in turmoil. 4 leaders are down, including one of their top assassins, who is believed to be dead after taking out around 40 targets in a single mission. Next, we have the Veil Jumpers, who from the trailers seem like a pretty colorful faction. They're a group of daring explorers dedicated to uncovering the mysteries hidden within ancient elven ruins. Their primary focus is the Arlathan Forest, a place rich in history for elves and filled with reality-warping magic. Located in eastern Tevinter, the Arlathan Forest is named after the ancient elven capital of Arlathan. The story around Arlathan and pretty much all of the history during that period is actually really interesting, so I do suggest, if you haven't before, check out some Dragon Age lore videos that really go into deep about everything from that time period before, during, and after. It's really interesting, and I think a lot of those things, or at least I hope personally, a lot of those things might start coming to fruition and coming back around. That'll make Veilguard an even more enjoyable experience. However, getting back to the Veil Jumpers, they are equipped with artifacts from old elven ruins that they use to aid their quests. Some even wield elven-looking magical triangles as arrows, showcasing their resourcefulness. In the books, Veil Jumpers Strife and Ireland joined forces with Varric and Harding to find a precious artifact stone. However, they discovered that Solas had already taken it. When it comes to their possible dynamic with Solas, I definitely can see it playing out in a bunch of different ways. I could definitely see him being annoyed by their maybe lack of understanding about all things ancient elven, and the fact that they kind of are treasure hunting these things and wanting to know more about them, whereas he kind of views them, you know, with his kind of anger at the past. Now, historically for me, Dragon Age has always handled these character backgrounds really well. I think they always kind of add an interesting dynamic into the game, even if it doesn't largely change the outcome of the story. I think they do very well with incorporating moments into the game that make it feel like your backstory or your faction really matter. For example, if you're a Dalish elf romance to Solus, there's a very significant scene that occurs through that choice. So I really like this addition of factions. I'm really interested how it'll play out in terms of character relationships, seeing as most of our companions, we have about one for each faction. So that adds another layer of detail. But what about you guys? What are you looking forward to? What are you leaning towards? What kind of rook do you want to make? Leave a comment below, like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and see you guys next time.